beneficiary, members of the press, alumni of the University of Newcastle, students, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the presentation of Professor Gopalan, who is the Dean of Law, and he's going to talk on law, justice and morality. Here's a brief biography of Professor Gopalan. Professor Sandeep Gopalan is the Dean of the Law School at the University of Newcastle. Previously, he served for 4 years as the head of the Department of Law at the National University of Ireland, Maynooth. Before moving to Ireland, he was an associate professor of law for several years in the United States and in the United Kingdom. Prior to his academic career, he worked as an investment banker on Wall Street and as a lawyer in California. Professor Gopalan graduated with a gold medal from the National Law School of India and went to Oxford, where he was a Rhodes Scholar for his BCL and his doctorate in philosophy degree. He was appointed to the Arizona Aerospace and Defense Commission by the governor of Arizona, and he served as chairman during 2006 to 2007. He served as co-chairman of the American Bar Association, ABA, and Aerospace and Defense Industries Committee, then as vice chairman of the ABA International Secured Transactions and Insolvency Law Committee, and as a member of the ABA Commission on Immigration. Professor Gopalan's research has been published by leading law journals in the United States. Some of his papers can be downloaded on the website. He will give you the website later on. He has published a number of opinion pieces in newspapers, including the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Australian, the Huffington Post, the Irish Times, and the Irish Independent. Professor Gopalan has appeared on a number of TV and radio shows as an expert commentator on a variety of legal issues. Professor Gopalan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, I might stand here. Let's also acknowledge with gratitude the work of my colleague Sir David Wise. If you haven't met him, you should certainly make it a point to network with him over drinks later this evening. Without his untiring efforts, I would not be here, and it's true to say that he is indeed a champion for Mauritius and indeed the larger African region in Australia, but specifically at the University of Newcastle. I recognize that you have many opportunities for entertainment this evening, and there are a lot of people downstairs imbibing various liquid refreshments, and you've chosen to be here, so I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. Hopefully I won't detain you too long, and that we can all repair downstairs for more entertaining conversations than talk about law, justice and morality. But in the few minutes that I have this evening, I thought it would be helpful. It's not meant to be a lecture by any means, but rather a discussion, a kind of interactive session, interrogating some themes where law, justice and morality intersect, both in the abstract, but also in some specific pragmatic contexts, which might help us understand, think about, and conceptualize potential solutions from a public policy standpoint, where law, justice, and morality intermingle and pose some challenging dilemmas. So the kind of format that I intend to take is to pose some hypothetical scenarios and get you to participate in helping us understand how we might solve these problems, and where, and towards the end of that, I'll help draw these strands together in showing you how these problems that I pose in hypothetical scenarios are not just abstract fulminations of an academic, but rather real problems encountered every day in our polities, whether it's in Mauritius, the United States, United Kingdom, or indeed Australia. So imagine the first scenario. You are a train driver, and there is a train full of people that you are steering in the engine room. towards a destination. And as you travel on this train in the front carriage in the engine room, you see a number of people working on the tracks doing some sort of repair work. Okay. And it becomes apparent as you watch them approaching you that the brakes on this engine are not working. And there's no way to stop the train such that you don't run over these 5 workers and kill all of them. It appears as you approach closer that there is a slight diversion, a track which seems to go off in a different direction that potentially could somehow steer the train into and avoid killing these 5 people. It becomes clear that there is one worker on this diversionary track who's also doing some sort of repair work. And you are now confronted with the dilemma that if you take the detour, you kill one person who's working the tracks. Whereas if you carry on without the diversion, you potentially kill the 5 workers who are in the main track in front of you. Question is, as a driver, what do you choose to do? Kill 5 people by doing nothing because you cannot apply the brakes and the brakes won't work. Or you take the diversion, the detour, and kill one person. What do you do?
Blow the horn and see which group reacts first. And
Yeah, let's assume none of that is not an option. There's no horn, or these people are so busy in their work that they're unlikely to hear and be able to move. So that's not an option.
You look for the greater good, and the greater good is to kill one person as opposed to 5.
Okay, so you look for the greater good, which is measured in the number of lives saved.
Yeah, the common good, as Rousseau called it.
Okay, common good is different from greater good.
Yes.
So greater good, a utility calculation,
It's utilitarian argument.
okay, so which is 5 people alive is better than
One.
one person alive. Okay, so you kill one person to save 5
Yes.
lives. Do you all agree?
Yeah, I agree, because the counter argument that, or one possible argument that doing nothing isn't killing anyone. You say, if I could apply the brakes, I would avoid killing those 5 people. I can't do that. If I turn and kill that guy, then my action is killed.
Exactly.
Whereas if I kill the 5, it's because I had no other option.
There's no volition because
Yeah,
you're just.
I'll just leave it alone.
Yeah.
That's quite a weak argument.
Why is
because
that a weak argument?
It's a weak argument because it supposes that by standing inert, doing nothing, you are in fact neutral. You're not neutral. You're the train driver. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to make a choice at that moment. And choosing to do nothing is an exercise of that choice, just as steering into the one guy is an exercise of that.
But that duty to act is counteracted by a duty or legal responsibility not to take life. So killing people is a prescribed act in most legal systems. Right? So there is a difference in terms of exercise of volition, because by doing nothing, you're not breaking any law not to kill. Whereas by steering and deliberately taking an action, which is to steer in the direction of the one person, you are actually taking life. So there is a violation of some legal rule that is entailed in that situation. Of course, as we'll see later on, there might be exculpatory arguments and so on. So there are two people who seem to be agreeing, but for different reasons, that it's preferable to kill one person rather than kill 5. Does anybody disagree?
I think choosing to kill one person is you are a murderer.
Exactly. So that's the argument I was raising.
Yeah,
Right? So,
if you're taking it to the path where it is supposed to go, then what the consequences are not predictable. Maybe there will be a change and something will happen. But if
Yeah, let's assume that
consciously
there's-
say that
yeah.
that life means less to me than those 5 people's life, it's just not an argument that I can follow through with any logic. I understand what you're saying, but
But hang on for a second. Now you're coming up with a different argument, right? So the first argument is that it's murder and therefore you should not do it. So that's not a moral argument, that's a legal argument. Right? Absent the legal rule that killing people is murder, would you kill them? Because the second part of your argument seems to be about the value of life, of one person being just as important as the 5 lives. That's a different argument, that's a moral argument, not a legal argument. So which is the justification not to kill? Is it the moral one or the legal one?
it's absolutely a moral and a legal. I cannot make a judgment call on that particular individual and say your life is less work than the 5 in the other. I was supposed to go on that route, and that's their destiny. They just come in and.
So it's their destiny. So you will not exercise your agency to save them from that destiny, even though it's 5 people versus 1. Yeah.
Do you steer for the one, hoping against all hope that he in time senses something's happening and gets out of the road?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of vain hope is not something which we're contemplating, right? We're saying it's absolutely sure that if you steer in this direction, that person will die because your back is against you, there's no time to move, there's none of those options. So it's 1 life versus 5, and that's the choice that you have. Okay?
Well, I think
So you will kill 1 person if you take the detour.
Someone's going to die.
Someone's going to die. Someone's going to die. So it's 1 or 5. And they seem to be advocating a utilitarian argument, which is save 5, kill 1. Whereas she says no, utility does not work because 1 life is just as valuable as the other. You can't choose to kill 1 over 5.
We do practice utilitarianism though. When we justify torture in a liberal society,
Yeah.
it's a justification of utilitarian arguments.
So you think it's justified to torture?
Well,
We'll get there in just a second. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Hold
I'm a
that
human
thought.
rights lawyer. I wouldn't say that, but arguably yes. Arguably yes. You're saving the greater people,
Hold-
greater good, yes.
Hold that thought. So let's modify the hypo slightly. And in this modified scenario, you're not the driver, but you're actually a bystander. Train's going just as I described. Same identical scenario of 5 people on the main tracks, 1 on the other side. But in this instance, as a bystander, you're standing on top of a bridge under which the track passes. Alongside you on the bridge is a person who is, let's say, a large person. So as a bystander, are you entitled, or when you see what's going on, with the train going sort of hurtling towards the 5 people or the 1 person, you think if you push this person who's standing next to you onto the main track, it's likely that the train will be brought to a stop and therefore 5 people will be saved. So should you push the person onto the track to save the 5? Is there a difference? Is there a difference?
There's
Yeah, potentially you're saving those 6, but you're killing
That
this
is
one.
murder. That's definitely murder.
That is murder. Why is that
Well,
murder?
legally satisfies the elements of murder.
Intention.
Yeah, it's beyond reasonable doubt. It's a forethought.
But why is that different from the turning to this track when you kill it? They're also the same thing.
Well, legally it is murder, morally it may not be.
So legally you're saying both are the same thing. Of killing the 1 person.